Shopping. You either love it or you hate it. I, for one, don't like it very much. Shopping is a trick when you have a tight budget or when you can't budget at all because you have a fluctuating income. Staying within your budget is very difficult when you walk down an aisle and you see many, many things that you want or perhaps think you need or haven't had in a while or feel like having for supper. Especially that aisle of death is what I call it, that last little short aisle at the tills where they have all these nice things that you want to taste. I am very happy that there's so many options now to shop online. It helps me a lot because I have my little list with the things I need that I've compiled, and I go and I search for those specific products and I order only that. So it helps me to stick to my budget, but not everyone is like that. So it's about preference. But I like to help people to stick to their budgets because it gives you opportunity to stretch your salary. It does make you feel a little bit like you've accomplished something if everything equals at the end of the month and you're not short. Or even if just a few bucks left in your bank account at the end of the month, it just feels good. So there are many, many budgeting tools out there. And I am not dissing any of them, but I'm not a fan of those that link to your bank account because to me, it just adds an additional hacking risk, which I am not comfortable with. So I have drafted this little spreadsheet that I'd like to share with you today. It's easy peasy, and you'll be able to do this calculation all by yourself, and it will help you with the budget. Our budget is simple, and for this, I'll need my glasses, and I'll share my screen with you here. So sorry about the glare. Budget is simply what comes in and what goes out. So let's have a look at this little spreadsheet that I've done for you. I have now already added a few things here just to save some time. What you have here is income and expenses. Income is easy. Literally go and say, this is my net salary after tax, after deductions, after if you have benefits, it's deducted at work. This is what I get in my pocket. Let's say, in this case, it's 20,000 Rand. Let's say your rental income, you have a flat, your house, and you're renting it out and you're getting 4,000 Rand a month from it. So let's say this is the money you receive in your bank account every month. Now let's look at what expenses you could potentially have. This all depends. This is not what it should be, or the right amounts or accurate amounts. This is just round amounts. And just to use as an example, everybody's budget will be different. It will depend on whether you're single, married, have children, where you live, if you rent, if you've bought, what your obligations are. So this is really just a guide. So let's go back to lifestyle. You have essential expenses, essential living expenses, and then discretionary expenses. Now, essential expenses are expenses that you have to pay or you'll get in trouble. Or it's coming off with a debit order on your account, so you have no choice. It goes off, that's how it is. What could those possibly be? Now, these are not an extensive list. There could be more things. I've just used a few examples. Medical aid, bond, cell phone, insurance, rates and levies. Now, all insurance, I've not just added them together here, short-term, life insurance, all of that. Rates and levies, Wi-Fi, electricity, retirement annuity payments, and your car repayments if you've got a hire purchase car. So these are just round amounts, and let's say in this case, the expenses amount to about 15,500 Rand a month. If we go to essential living expenses, it's usually stuff that goes with this stuff here. Food, you need to eat, so that's an essential living expense. Fuel, if you have a car, you need fuel. And then clothes. I've put this in for a reason, you'll see why. And let's say this is on an account or say on a credit card, you're paying it off at 300 Rand a month. If you have children that's growing, you usually always have this expense. Let's look at discretionary expenses. Things that if you don't have money, you could cut back on this. And these aren't regular expenses that you have to have. You can actually live without it if you really have to. So we have entertainment, which is TV, dining out, going to the movies, things like that. You have savings for holidays, you want to go away weekends, or you want to go overseas at some point in the future, you're putting some money away for that. And you go to the gym and your contract fee is about 500 Rand a month. So here you'll see, if I look at this budget, I'll have a lot to say because the priorities aren't what I would suggest it should be. and there might be a little bit more savings towards short-term needs and an emergency fund and things like that. But let's look at the outcome of this. If you take the income, you deduct all the expenses, this person has 200 Rand a month left to save in addition to, say, an emergency fund thing, which is the first need I spot in this budget. Let's now go look at my guide, personal, this is not necessarily accurate, of what a budget should look like. And you can maybe use this as a guideline. So we've already determined on the previous spreadsheet that the total monthly income is 24,000. In my opinion, your debt shouldn't comprise more than 10% of your income. So if you earn 24,000 Rand a month, your debt, that's excluding car and house insurance, just credit card, accounts, loans, might have student loan stuff, shouldn't be more than 2,400 Rand a month. In this case, we're only buying clothes and this is only costing us 300 Rand, so we're far below our ideal, which is great. Less debt, the better. Savings and retirement provision, in this case, we're only saving 700 Rand a month because it's the 500 Rand for the RA and then the 200 Rand we had left over that we decided now we're going to save. So let's say save 700 Rand a month. Ideally, you should save at least 15% of your salary. So it should be more, but 15% is a rough guideline for retirement purposes, for instance, because statistics have shown that if you don't save consistently without a break for 40 years continuously and increasing it with inflation, then you will not be able to retire. If you do, you'll be able to retire at about 80% of your income. So it's important to save at least 15%. And this will be higher if you started saving too late in your life. Then you'll have to save a larger percentage of your income to reach your goal. This case, this person is not saving nearly enough to get to retirement. If we look at housing costs, it's the bond, the rates, electricity, and the insurance that I've included here. It's about 9 Rand a month. It shouldn't be more than 35% of your income, ideally, in my world. So it's slightly over. So maybe just try and find cheaper insurance, try and save some water, try and use some less electricity to cut the budget to get to the ideal. Car expenses, the fuel, insurance, and the hire purchase repayment amount was about 3,500. Ideal is to not spend more than 15% of your income on a car. So it's below the ideal. If it was more, you could maybe have said, you know what, I'm not living within my means, I can't afford this car. It's like here, if you really couldn't cut electricity and rates, maybe you are living beyond your means with a bond. This is just saying that a guide as to if you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a house, this is a guide as to can you really afford it. Okay. Then other expenses, we have food, Wi-Fi, entertainment, medical aid, insurance, the left remainder, and then the gym. By insurance is what that was not related to the car and the house. So it was about 9,500. This shouldn't be more than 25% of income. So this is hugely over the budget. And this is where we could potentially reduce the costs to try and increase the savings budget portion. So here we could say, okay, let's buy a little bit at another store. We'll spend a little bit less on snacks. And then maybe we can go to a cheaper Wi-Fi package, or perhaps we can go out less. Let's revisit the medical aid options. Let's look at our insurance, and isn't there a cheaper way to exercise? Can I afford to join the gym? So that's basically how budgeting works. I just want to end off by saying, if you can teach your children, if you parent, to budget from a young age, if you're paying them a pocket, try and teach them to prioritize what they want and what is important, maybe especially bigger children. If you can teach them, listen, this is the money you have to buy deodorant with it, clothes with it, whatever, and teach them that comes first before they spend it on gifts for friends and things like that. If you can teach them that from a young age, you've really set them off to a good start with their first salary. Help them to prioritize savings because it is important. And try and show them how to do it and be a good example. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this helped.